when the first primitive human learned it, the age of humanity officially began. But here's the question: how did the ancestors of humans appear in the first place? To explain that, we have to start. If those prehistoric giants hadn't died mammals would still be living at the bottom of the food chain, only sneaking out at night to scavenge for food. Dinosaurs dominated mammals for over 100 until a single asteroid completely changed the balance of power. The impact triggered a series of catastrophic chain reactions. A doomsday dust cloud darkened the skies. Plants withered and died off en masse. Volcanoes erupted violently. Tsunamis ravaged the coastlines. The massive dinosaurs began to perish one after another. In the end, the dinosaur dynasty was wiped out except for one surviving branch, birds. At this point, many people get it. They assume our mammal ancestors survived the disaster unscathed. But just as things were, my tablet started lagging. It seriously affected my video editing. Luckily, but I was too lazy to deal with selling. I compared several platforms and found that Zhuangzuan was offering a big government-backed, so I booked their door-to-door recycling. To my surprise, my old iPad Pro and sold for over 4,000 smart devices like earbuds and smartwatches. For second-hand recycling, I recommend Zhuangzuan. Back to mammals weren't unscathed. 90% of mammal species went extinct. So here's the puzzle. If mammals also took such a heavy hit, how did they bounce back and rise so quickly? It actually had everything to do with how, after living in the shadows of dinosaurs for mammals had evolved into experts at survival. They weren't picky eaters and were easy to sustain. They reproduced far faster than early days of the small land mammals scraped by on what little food remained. But once they survived the worst of it, they were shocked to discover the terrifying dinosaurs were gone. That meant they could move around freely in the daylight and travel much farther. From that moment on, mammals began an explosive phase. A team at the University of London analyzed 900 placental mammal fossils. They found that for millions of years before the extinction, placental mammals had been evolving at a relatively stable, but in the 10 million years after the extinction, their rate of evolution accelerated, especially the group known as Lorisiatheria. They experienced rapid increases in body size, and eventually, they evolved into many, including bats, cats, rhinos, and whales. In short, the rise of mammals was made possible. But when did primates, the ancestors of humans 65.9 million years ago, a primate called Purgatorius emerged? It eventually evolved into Archaeopus and other primate species. Over the next tens of millions, mammals, including primates, flourished rapidly. Some, tired of the struggle, ventured into the vast, endless oceans. Some eventually evolved into the largest animals in Earth's history. Others refused to be out, evolving the ability to fly, competing with birds and insects for territory in the sky. Some became the largest land animals since the age of dinosaurs. But primates chose a completely different path. Around 5 to 7 million years ago, the ancestors of humans and chimpanzees still lived together. Maybe it was a devastating forest fire, or maybe some other but our ancestors left their familiar forest, venturing out onto the vast grasslands to spot threats from afar and find more food. They gradually learned to walk upright during this transition. Now, you're probably wondering why exactly. Let's take a look at how they actually learned to walk onto legs. Due to long-term tectonic activity, a massive rift tore through the African continent, now known as the Great Rift. On the eastern side of the valley lies a series with an average elevation of 2, forming a natural barrier that blocked the west to east movement of moist air. As a result, the area and lush forests slowly thinned out. Food became increasingly scarce, so the need for upright walking emerged. Around 4.4 million years ago, Ardipithecus ramidus, a species that had fully adapted to walk. Its brain was slightly larger than, but despite this evolution, life was. By this time, other mammals were already large feline predators, could tear them to pieces if they let them. They lived in constant fear and danger. And yet, these early hominins, so what lay ahead for them on this uncertain path?